What if I told you that in 1997, a child was born who never learned to speak, yet spoke fluently in a language that had been dead for over 3,000 years? A language so ancient that the world's leading linguists couldn't even identify its origins. But here's where it gets truly disturbing. When archaeologists finally discovered what this language was, they found something that changed everything we thought we knew about human civilization. This is the story of Myra Thornfield, and what happened to her might be the most terrifying linguistic discovery in modern history. On a rain-soaked October night in rural Vermont, Sarah and David Thornfield welcomed their first and only child into the world. But from the moment Myra took her first breath, something was profoundly wrong. The infant didn't cry. Instead, she made sounds that the delivery room staff had never heard before, guttural, rhythmic utterances that seemed almost intentional. The pediatricians assured the parents it was normal. Babies make all kinds of sounds. But as weeks turned to months, Myra never developed typical baby babble. She never said, "mama," or "da." Instead, she spoke in what sounded like complete sentences in a language that didn't exist. By her first birthday, Myra was fluent in this mysterious tongue. She would hold conversations with herself, seemingly understanding every word. She spoke. When her parents tried to teach her English, she would look at them with an expression of profound sadness, as if they were the ones who couldn't understand. Desperate for answers, the Thornfields contacted linguistics professor, Dr. Elena Vasquez. At Harvard University, Dr. Vasquez had spent her career studying dead languages and was immediately intrigued. When she first heard recordings of 3-year-old Myra speaking, she was stunned. The child wasn't speaking gibberish or creating her own language, as many children do. The phonetic patterns, grammatical structures, and linguistic complexity suggested an actual, fully developed language. But it wasn't any language in the known linguistic database. Dr. Vasquez reached out to colleagues worldwide, ancient Sanskrit scholars from India, Celtic language experts from Ireland, specialists in extinct Mesopotamian dialects. None could identify even a single word. For 2 years, the linguistic community was baffled. Myra continued to speak only in this unknown language, growing increasingly withdrawn as she realized no one could understand her. Her parents described watching their daughter's eyes grow dimmer each day, as if she was slowly disappearing into herself. Then, in 2002, everything changed. Dr. James Crawford, an archaeologist working on recently discovered ruins in the mountains of Armenia, was cataloging ancient stone tablets when something extraordinary happened. The tablets contained inscriptions in an unknown script that had puzzled researchers. For months, during a video call with Dr. Vasquez about an unrelated matter, Crawford's recording device picked up Myra's voice in the background as she played in the next room. Crawford went silent. He asked Dr. Vasquez to replay the recording. Then he did something that would haunt him for the rest of his life. He began reading the stone tablets aloud, translating them word for word, using Myra's spoken language as a guide. The tablets weren't just ancient records or religious texts. They were warnings. According to the translations, the language Myra spoke was called Kethmori, the tongue of the buried ones. The tablets spoke of a civilization that existed before recorded history, a people who had discovered something beneath the earth that should have remained hidden. The inscriptions detailed rituals and practices so disturbing that I cannot repeat them here. But they involved the systematic sacrifice of children to entities that dwelt in the deep places of the world. The final tablet contained a prophecy. When the last speaker of Kethmori died, the seals holding back these ancient horrors would weaken. But if a new speaker was born, someone pure enough to carry the language in their blood, the seals could be renewed. The child would serve as a living key, keeping the ancient darkness locked away. But the cost would be the child's sanity, their connection to the human world, and ultimately, their life. As Dr. Crawford shared these translations, a horrifying pattern emerged. Every previous archaeological expedition to similar sites had reported the same phenomena: team members falling ill with unexplained madness, speaking in tongues before taking their own lives, The few survivors describe dreams of vast underground chambers filled with things that should not exist. But there was something else. The tablets revealed that these chosen speakers weren't random. They were descendants of the original Cathmori bloodline, their genetic memory somehow preserving the ancient language across millennia. And according to the genealogical research that followed, the Thornfield family tree traced back to a region of ancient Armenia where the tablets were found. As Myra approached her 7th birthday, her parents noticed disturbing changes. She had begun drawing pictures of underground caverns filled with strange symbols. She would wake screaming from nightmares, speaking rapidly in Cathmori about the hungry ones stirring and the stone doors cracking. Most disturbing of all, she began to age rapidly. Her hair started turning gray, and her eyes developed a milky film that doctors couldn't explain. Dr. Vasquez, now the only person who could partially understand Myra through her translations of the tablets, learned the truth. Myra wasn't just speaking the language of the buried ones, she was becoming their guardian, their living seal, and the process was killing her. The final translation from the tablets was the most chilling of all. It stated that when the chosen speaker reached the age of 8, they would be compelled to return to the place where their ancestors once dwelt. There, they would speak the final words that would either renew the ancient seals for another 1,000 years or, if they failed, release something that would end human civilization as we know it. On October 31st, 2004, 3 days before her 8th birthday, Myra Thornfield disappeared from her bedroom in the middle of the night. Her parents found her window open and strange symbols carved into the wooden frame. Symbols that matched those found on the Armenian tablets. Search teams combed the Vermont wilderness for weeks, but found no trace of her. It wasn't until 6 months later that hikers discovered something that changed everything. Deep in the Green Mountains, they found a cave system that wasn't on any geological survey. Inside, carved into walls of stone that predated human civilization in the Americas, were fresh inscriptions in the Cathmori script. When Dr. Vasquez translated them, she discovered Myra's final message to the world. The little girl had found her way to an ancient site connected to the original Armenian ruins. Following some inherited instinct that transcended human understanding, she had spoken the words needed to renew the seals, sacrificing herself to keep something unspeakable locked away for another millennium. But here's what haunts me the most about this story. Dr. Vasquez's final translation revealed that this wasn't the first time. Every 1,000 years, a child is born speaking Cathmori. Every 1,000 years, they make the same journey, speak the same words, and disappear forever. It's been happening since before recorded history, an endless cycle of children giving their lives to protect a world that doesn't even know it needs protecting. The cave where Myra's final inscriptions were found has since been sealed by government authorities. Dr. Crawford suffered a complete mental breakdown after the translations were completed and spent his final years in a psychiatric facility, claiming he could hear voices speaking in Cathmori from beneath the earth. Dr. Vasquez destroyed all her research and refused to ever discuss the case again before her death in 2012. The Thornfield family moved away and changed their name, trying to forget the daughter they could never understand and could never save. The official records list Myra as a missing person, just another tragic unsolved case. But those few who know the truth understand that she wasn't missing. She was exactly where she was meant to be. And if the cycle holds true, somewhere in the world right now, another child is being born. A child who will never learn to say mama or dada, but who will speak fluently in the language of nightmares. A child whose only purpose will be to stand guard against horrors too ancient and too terrible for the human mind to comprehend. The next time you hear about a child who speaks in an unknown language, remember Myra Thornfield. Remember that some knowledge comes with a price too high to pay, and some sacrifices are made by those too young to understand what they're giving up. Because deep beneath the earth, in chambers older than civilization itself, something waits. Something that has been waiting for thousands of years for the seals to finally fail, for the chosen speakers to stop coming, for the words to finally fall silent. And when that day comes, we'll finally understand why children like Myra Thornfield were born speaking the language of the buried ones. The question isn't whether this story is real or fiction. The question is, are you brave enough to hope it's just fiction? Because if it's not, then somewhere out there, a child is learning words that could save us all, ... or damn us forever. Sleep well tonight. Try not to dream of underground chambers. And if you hear a child speaking in a language you don't recognize, maybe it's better not to ask what they're trying to say. Some conversations are meant for ears, far older and far more terrible than yours.